Picture this: a quiet morning, the kind where the world outside seems to hold its breath, and I'm standing at my kitchen window, a mug of coffee cooling in my hands, watching a single leaf spiral down from the old oak in our backyard. It's a slow, deliberate fall, like it knows exactly where it's meant to land. I'm Isabel, by the way, 30 years old, and if you saw me right now, you'd probably think I've got it all figured out. A tidy little house in a tidy little suburb, a husband named Brandon, who, to anyone looking in, is the blueprint of perfection. We're the couple everyone loves to love. At dinner parties, our friends, people we've known since college, neighbors who've watched us grow into this life, can't stop gushing. "You two are just so in sync," they say, clinking their wine glasses as if toasting to some unspoken victory. "Goals," they murmur, and I smile, my lips curving just right, while Brandon's hand finds mine under the table. A practiced gesture that looks like affection, but feels like a script we've rehearsed 1,000 times. I can still see us at the last gathering, just a week ago, standing in the glow of string lights on someone's patio. I'm in a navy dress I picked because it's his favorite color, and he's telling a story about a work trip, his voice smooth and charming, while I nod and laugh at the punchline, right on cue. Our friends eat it up, their eyes shining with admiration, and I wonder if they notice how my smile doesn't quite reach my eyes, or how Brandon's grip on my hand loosens the second their attention shifts. We're actors in a play no one else knows is staged, and every performance leaves me more exhausted than the last. But behind the curtain, when the audience is gone and the house is quiet, the truth seeps out like a slow leak. Our home isn't a sanctuary. It's a museum of what used to be. We're not partners anymore, just two people sharing square footage, moving through the same space with the precision of strangers who've learned to avoid collision. Breakfast is a silent affair. Me at one end of the table with my toast and jam, him at the other, scrolling through his phone, his eyes gliding past me like I'm part of the furniture. Sometimes as he walks by to grab his keys, his arm brushes mine, a mechanical touch, empty of any real intent, and I feel the absence of warmth like a physical ache. I catch myself staring at the back of his head as he leaves for work, wondering when we stopped seeing each other, when the air between us turned so heavy with things we don't say. It's a loneliness that's hard to name, the kind that gnaws at you in the quiet hours, when the world is asleep and you're left with nothing but your own thoughts. I lie awake at night, listening to the rhythm of Brandon's breathing from the other side of the bed, a sound that used to comfort me, but now just reminds me of the distance we've carved out. It was during one of those heavy, silent evenings a few days ago, over a dinner of cold takeout pizza, that Brandon suddenly broke the quiet. We were sitting across from each other at the kitchen table, not even pretending to make conversation, when he set down his slice, wiped his hands on a napkin, and looked at me with something I hadn't seen in months, maybe years. A spark. His voice was casual, almost too casual, but there was an edge to it, a flicker of excitement that felt foreign coming from him. "I've got an idea," he said, leaning forward just slightly. "Something to shake things up. There's this citywide game, an interactive detective quest. You know, a mystery we solve on the streets, playing roles, working with strangers. It's supposed to be immersive, like stepping into a story. What do you think?" I remember blinking at him, my fork hovering over a piece of crust I hadn't touched. My first instinct was to say no, to retreat back into the safety of our silence, but there was something in his eyes, a plea, maybe, or a challenge, that made me pause. Guilt tugged at me, sharp and familiar. I owed him something, didn't I? Some effort to bridge this chasm between us, even if I wasn't sure I wanted to cross it. So I nodded, my voice barely above a whisper. "Sure, let's do it." His face lit up, just for a second, before he leaned back in his chair, the moment slipping away as quickly as it came. but it was enough to make me wonder if this game could be a lifeline or at least a distraction from the emptiness. Fast forward to the day of the event, and I'm standing in the heart of downtown, in a bustling square as dusk settles over the city. The air is thick with the hum of anticipation, the kind that crackles like static before a storm. All around me, groups of strangers are milling about, some decked out in elaborate costumes, trench coats, fedoras, even a woman in a Victorian gown clutching a parasol. Organizers with megaphones are barking instructions, their voices cutting through the chatter, while participants clutch maps and notepads, already diving into the game before it's even begun. The energy is infectious, but I feel out of place, my hands stuffed in the pockets of my jacket, wondering if I've made a mistake. Brandon's beside me for only a moment before he's called away to join another team. He gives me a fleeting wave and a half smile, the kind that doesn't quite reach his eyes. And then he's gone, swallowed by the crowd. I'm left standing there, alone, until an organizer shoves a crumpled piece of paper into my hand and announces my role. The mysterious woman. I glance at the scribbled instructions on the paper, barely making sense of the cryptic clues and objectives, when two guys from my assigned team approach me. Noah, tall and sharp-edged with a smirk that seems to know too much, and Lucas, quieter, with eyes that linger a little too long, like he's trying to read something I haven't written yet. They introduce themselves with quick nods, and just like that, we're off, weaving through the crowded streets, chasing leads and solving riddles under the fading light of the city. At first it feels like a game, laughing over a misinterpreted clue, jogging past neon signs and street performers, the thrill of the chase pulling me out of my head for a while. But as the night deepens, the tone shifts, and I can feel it in the way the air grows heavier, the way Noah and Lucas exchange glances I can't quite decipher. We've been following the trail for hours, moving farther from the vibrant heart of downtown, away from the laughter and chaos of the starting point. The city around us transforms into something grittier, quieter, where the streetlights flicker and the sidewalks are cracked, littered with debris. My sneakers scuff against the uneven pavement as we turn down a narrow alley, the sounds of the game fading into a distant hum. Noah suddenly grabs my arm, pulling me to a stop in front of an abandoned warehouse. The building looms like a forgotten relic, its windows boarded up with splintered wood, rusted metal doors covered in layers of graffiti, angry slashes of red and black that look like wounds on the steel. The air here smells of damp concrete and something metallic, sharp enough to sting my nose. I glance at Lucas, expecting a quip or a clue, but his face is unreadable, his jaw tight. Noah steps closer, so close I can feel the heat radiating off him, and leans in until his breath brushes warm against my ear. My skin prickles as his voice drops to a whisper, low and deliberate. "Your husband said you need to be brave. We're on the edge now." My heart stumbles, a wild thud in my chest as I freeze, every muscle locking up. Brandon? What does he mean by that? How does Noah even know what Brandon said, or didn't say? Before I can turn to demand an explanation, Noah's fingers graze the side of my neck, a touch so light yet so intimate it sends an electric jolt straight through me, igniting something I didn't expect to feel. I'm caught between confusion and a rush I can't name, my mind racing with questions about Brandon's involvement, about what brave is supposed to mean in this moment. I look to Lucas, hoping for clarity, but he just nods, his gaze locked on mine, heavy with an unspoken understanding that makes my stomach twist. They don't give me time to think. Noah gestures toward the warehouse door, and Lucas pushes it open with a creak that echoes into the darkness beyond. I hesitate, my breath shallow, but their silent insistence pulls me forward, and I step inside. The space is cavernous and cold, the air thick with the musty scent of neglect. A single bulb hangs from the ceiling, flickering erratically, casting jagged shadows across the concrete floor. In the center of the room, there's a worn mat, its edges frayed, like it's been dragged through too many stories. And in the corner, propped on a tripod, is a small camera, its red light blinking like a heartbeat, watching us. My stomach churns, a sick mix of fear and curiosity clawing at me. This isn't part of the game. I know it in my bones. Whatever this is, it's something else entirely. Something I wasn't prepared for when I agreed to play. I should turn back, should demand to know what's happening, but there's a pull here. A dangerous allure in the unknown that keeps my feet rooted. Noah steps closer again, his presence commanding, and I feel the weight of his confidence, the way his hands move with a certainty I've craved for longer than I can admit. He guides me, and I let him, my resistance crumbling under the intensity of the moment. Lucas joins, his quiet intensity. As I step out of the warehouse, the cool night air hits me like a slap, sharp and sobering after the stifling closeness of that cavernous space. My skin still tingles, a lingering echo of what just transpired, a sensation I can't shake off no matter how hard I try to ground myself. My mind is a storm, swirling with shame and a strange, defiant exhilaration that I don't fully understand. I take a shaky breath, the damp scent of the alley filling my lungs, and start walking, my sneakers scraping against the cracked pavement as I head back toward the city center. Behind me, Noah and Lucas follow, their footsteps a quiet rhythm in the stillness, but they don't speak. Their silence feels heavier now, weighted with something I can't name, and their roles as my agents in this game seem like a cruel irony. A mask for whatever they really are to me in this moment. My legs feel unsteady, like they might give out beneath me, but I keep moving, driven by a need to put distance between myself and that warehouse, between myself and the choices I made under its flickering light. The city unfolds around me as I walk, its edges rough and unpolished in this part of town. The distant hum of traffic is a low growl, a reminder of life continuing somewhere beyond my chaos. Streetlights flicker above, casting uneven pools of orange glow on the sidewalk, their erratic blinking mirroring the turmoil inside me. Every shadow seems to shift and stretch, playing tricks on my eyes, making me jump at nothing. A crumpled soda can skitters across the ground, pushed by a gust of wind, and the sound scrapes at my nerves, too loud in the quiet. I pull my jacket tighter around me, but it does little to stop the chill that settled deep in my bones, a cold that has nothing to do with the night air. My thoughts are a tangled mess, looping back to Brandon, to what I've done, to what it means for us. Guilt claws at me, sharp and relentless, a voice in my head whispering that I've betrayed him in a way I can't take back. I picture his face, the way it used to soften when he looked at me, back when we were more than just shadows of ourselves. But there's another feeling too, one I'm almost afraid to name, a defiant satisfaction, a sense that I've reclaimed something I lost long ago, something I didn't even realize I was missing until tonight. It's a dangerous thought, one that makes my heart race with both dread and a strange kind of power. I don't know how to reconcile these two parts of myself, the one that aches with regret and the one that feels alive for the first time in years. I keep walking, my pace uneven, my mind racing ahead to the inevitable confrontation. What will I say to Brandon when I see him? I rehearse the words in my head, testing phrases that feel inadequate, hollow. I got caught up in the game, I imagine myself saying, but the lie tastes bitter even in my thoughts. I picture his reaction, the way his eyes might narrow with anger, or worse, cloud with hurt. Or maybe he'll just stare at me with that blank indifference I've come to know so well, the look that cuts deeper than any words. I wonder if he'll ask questions, if he'll push until the truth spills out, or if he'll turn away, shutting me out like he's done so many times before. The uncertainty gnaws at me, a knot tightening in my chest with every step I take. The city starts to shift as I near the center, the streets growing wider, the sounds of life louder. I pass a late-night diner, its neon sign buzzing faintly, casting a sickly green light through the window where a lone waitress wipes down the counter with a tired slump to her shoulders. A group of teenagers laughs somewhere nearby, their voices sharp and carefree, a stark contrast to the weight I carry. The air smells faintly of exhaust and fried food, grounding me in the present even as my mind keeps spiraling. I glance over my shoulder, catching Noah's eye for a split second before he looks away, his expression unreadable. Lucas keeps his gaze on the ground, his hands shoved deep into his pockets, as if he's trying to disappear into himself. I turn my focus forward again, my heart pounding with every step closer to the meeting point where I know Brandon will be waiting. The weight of what I've done clings to me like a second skin, and I can't shake the feeling that I'm walking straight into a reckoning I'm not ready for. But there's no turning back now, no way to undo the choices I made in that warehouse, no way to erase the memory of Noah's touch or Lucas's silent complicity. All I can do is face whatever comes next. As I reach the central square where the game began, the crowd has thinned, the earlier chaos replaced by a scattering of tired participants exchanging stories and laughter under the glow of string lights. The fountain at the center trickles softly, a steady murmur that cuts through the low hum of voices. My eyes scan the area, searching for Brandon, and my stomach twists tighter with every passing second. Then I see him, standing near the edge of the square, leaning casually against a lamppost, his phone in hand, the screen casting a faint blue light across his face. He looks so normal, so unaffected, like nothing in the world could touch him. It's a stark contrast to the storm raging inside me, and for a moment I hesitate, my feet faltering on the cobblestone. But I force myself forward, each step heavier than the last, until I'm close enough for him to notice me. My voice catches in my throat, a lump I can't swallow down, and all I manage is a weak, trembling, "Hey!" It's barely audible, almost lost in the sound of the fountain, but he hears it. Brandon looks up from his phone, his expression unreadable at first, a blank slate that sends a shiver down my spine. I brace myself for anger, for disappointment, for anything that might shatter the fragile silence between us. But then, slowly, impossibly, his lips curve into a knowing smile, one that starts small but grows with a quiet certainty that unnerves me. It's not the smile of a man who's been betrayed, it's the smile of someone who's been waiting for this moment all along. I stand there, frozen, my breath shallow as his words hit me like a wave I didn't see coming. "You were amazing," he says, his tone calm, almost proud, with no trace of anger or betrayal. It's so far from what I expected that my mind stumbles, grasping for meaning, for some hidden accusation in his voice. But there's nothing, just a steady warmth that I haven't heard from him in years. I can't move, can't speak, my lips parted but no sound coming out. He steps closer, closing the distance between us, and his eyes search mine with an intensity that feels like it's peeling back every layer I've tried to hide behind. It's a look I remember from a lifetime ago, from nights when we'd stay up talking until dawn, when every glance felt like a promise. Now, it's disorienting, like stepping into a memory I thought I'd lost forever. Then he speaks again, his voice low, deliberate, each word landing with a weight I can't ignore. "Want to do it again next time? But without the game?" My mind reels, spinning out of control as I try to piece together what he's saying. The implication crashes over me like a tidal wave. He knew. He knew all along. This wasn't just some random event we stumbled into. This was orchestrated, a carefully laid plan to break through the wall of silence we've built between us. Noah's cryptic words in the alley, the camera in the warehouse, the way everything unfolded with a precision that felt too perfect. It all clicks into place. Brandon wasn't just a participant in the game. He was the architect of this moment, pushing me to the edge to see if I'd jump, to see if we could still feel something, anything, after all this time. A rush of emotions floods through me, so tangled I can barely name them. There's relief, sharp and sudden, that he's not angry, that I don't have to face the condemnation I'd braced myself for. But there's also a flicker of unease, a question that lingers like a shadow in the back of my mind. How far did he plan this? And what does it mean that he wanted me to cross that line? I'm standing there, still caught in the aftershock of his words, as we start walking away from the square together. The city hums around us, oblivious to the storm inside me, and the silence between us isn't the heavy, suffocating kind I've grown used to. No, this silence is different. Electric, buzzing with something unspoken, something alive. It's like the air itself is charged, crackling with possibilities I'm not sure I'm ready to name, let alone explore. We move side by side, our steps falling into an uneven rhythm on the uneven pavement. The streetlights cast long, wavering shadows ahead of us, and I steal a glance at Brandon, trying to read the lines of his face in the dim glow. His expression is calm, almost serene, but there's a glint in his eyes, a spark of something daring that I haven't seen in so long. My hand swings by my side, and as we walk, it brushes against his, just for a fleeting second. The contact sends a jolt through me, a tiny shock that feels outsized in the context of our years of distance. I don't pull away, and neither does he. Instead, we let the moment linger, the graze of skin against skin, a quiet acknowledgement of something shifting between us. At a stoplight, we pause, the red glow bathing us in a surreal haze. I turn my head, and our eyes meet. There's no need for words. The look we share is heavy with 1,000 unspoken questions, 1,000 buried desires. It's a moment that feels like it could tip either way, into anger, into longing, into something entirely new. The light changes to green, but we don't move right away, caught in that suspended second where the world seems to hold its breath. Then, as if on cue, we both start walking again, and a small, nervous laugh escapes me over nothing in particular, just the absurdity of standing there, of feeling this way after everything. Brandon echoes it, a soft chuckle that feels like a bridge, tentative but real, spanning the gap we've let grow for far too long. As we continue toward home, my mind keeps circling back to what happened earlier, to the choices I made in that warehouse. I wait for the guilt to crash over me again, to drown me in its familiar weight, but it doesn't come. Instead, there's something else, a quiet, unapologetic acceptance. I don't regret it. I can't bring myself to. There, I've said it, even if only in my own head. I liked it. I liked the rush, the way it felt to step over a line I never thought I'd cross, to feel something raw and real after so many years of numbness. It was like waking up from a long, dreamless sleep, my senses sharp and alive in a way I'd forgotten was possible. That moment, under the flickering bulb with Noah and Lucas, it wasn't just a betrayal or a mistake. It was a revelation. It showed me a part of myself I didn't know was there, a hunger I'd buried under layers of routine and resignation. I'm not proud of how it happened, not entirely, but I can't deny the thrill that still hums under my skin when I think about it. It's like a secret I carry now, a spark that's ignited something dormant inside me, something I'm not sure I can or want to put out. I've spent so long playing the part of the perfect wife, the perfect partner, smoothing over edges and swallowing my own needs to keep the peace. But tonight, I shattered that mold, and the pieces don't fit back together the same way. I don't think I want them to. There's a liberation in that, a dangerous kind of freedom that scares me as much as it excites me. What does it mean to want more of this, to crave the edge again, to chase that feeling even if it risks losing everything I've known, yet gaining a version of myself I never dared to imagine? Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.